Welcome back to the Purple Planet, everybody. And I am Michael Curtis, and the Ascended Master to my kith is sitting beside me, Mr. Harley Stroh. Harley, are you
Hey,
ready to talk?
everybody. Oh, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We appreciate having you guys.
Are you ready to talk some Purple Planet? It feels like weeks.
Weeks. I would love to, Michael Curtis. Let's talk some Purple Planet.
All right. So last time in our last episode, I feel like this should be like a Flash Gordon serial.
Ooh, last time on Purple Planet.
So
We
we
need to,
got
yeah.
to the Kith and the Ascended Masters, who
Mhm.
are going to be most likely one of the big bads that the players are going to have to deal with in one way or the other when they arrive on the Purple Planet. But like much like the real world, you might have to deal with jerks in the office, but there's always a chance you might get bit by a rattlesnake, inadvertently when you're out for a walk. So there are other threats out there in the universe and on the Purple Planet. So we want to talk about some of those today. I think that's the plan, right?
Yeah. So there's intelligent threats that you need to like think about, like the ascended masters, their plots, and then the hordes of roaming kith, they're a mile off, or we deal with them one way, or they're 500 yards away, we deal with them another way. But then there's the monsters that are largely unintelligent that we need to deal with as they arise. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The bread and butter of fantasy adventure, one way or the other. The stuff that is going to kill you, and you don't have to worry about parlaying. You just have to hopefully they'll fail their morale roll at some point and run away and leave you alone if you can't deal with them. So
Random encounters. Yeah, that's what we get paid for,
random.
Michael Curtis. Random encounters.
So let's start with the biggest thing, perhaps all on the Purple Planet, the aptly named Death Orm. Right? Oh. So yeah, so they are
Yes, sir.
I don't know if they're apex predators or just a big menace. Why don't you go kind of give us the lowdown on the Death Orm, since they sprung from your fevered brow.
Sure. Sure. So the death orms are these massive giant, I mean, essentially sandworms, right? With these enormous paddles that are feeding, food into their maws at all times as they work their way, beneath the wasteland sands of the Purple Planet, erupting to consume PCs or possibly, Kith war bands, only to vanish again, beneath the sands of the weirdling wastes. And but our death orms come in a number of sizes. We have the Vatya Abyad, the mother death orm, who's miles deep and with a maw that stretches large enough to actually consume other death orms that are always writhing towards her. And then we have your average death orms that may show up in an adventure and in a random encounter. They're perhaps the PCs have acquired some greenstone shards, and then the next thing that they have this magic artifact. The next thing they know, the death orm is like erupting up to the sands, and dust is billowing everywhere, and the death orm comes up and consumes the mage, and then vanishes back beneath the sands. And then this is actually really cool. It wasn't what we planned to talk about, but Terry Olson invented Ormling Swarm, where there's like thousands of little tiny baby death orms. They're all ranging from 6 inches to 2 feet across, and just a tide of them washing towards you down this cave. That was one of our tournament adventures. You spent some time on the Purple Planet, and the PCs had to outrun these death orms, cutting left or right, depending on how the death orms are chasing them, and try to outrun them as they flee through the caves.
Right.
But yeah, so death orms. Yeah, monstrous, enormous giant worms. Probably certainly inspired by all the time we spent reading Dune as a kid, but also the time spent in the movie theater watching the Sarlacc consume Boba Fett as they get knocked off the skiff. And I'm talking too much, Mike, and I apologize. But I was watching that scene again, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, this is where this is one of the things that was on my mind when we were writing the Death Orms, and it's like, oh, but there, you have the skiffs from Helium, and like this is all Edgar Rice Burroughs. Like George Lucas is stealing from the same people that Goodman Games is stealing from, and it was really like really affirming to look at how Edgar Rice Burroughs' work has just like echoed down the decades and all of us are still drawing from that fount that back in 1910, 1920, whenever he was writing, warlords on the of warlords of Mars, that still lives so strongly, like a century later.
Mhm.
Like, what an accomplishment! Like, that's what a true talent that we can all aspire towards, and
I
all really give thanks that we get to draw from that still.
totally agree. I mean, if I don't expect my work to still be read, 100 years from now, but I mean, that would be a nice thing to happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so I mean the Death Orm it's such like it's I mean it's part of a long legacy, as you were saying, like, so I mean the idea that there's something beneath your feet which can come up,
yeah.
kill you, is something that, I mean it's not something that humans necessarily had to deal with in reality, but there
Right,
was always
right,
that fear. I mean, I think
right.
you if you think about it, like even growing up as kids, like it's kind of like a meme now, but like when we were kids, we thought like quicksand would be a much bigger problem in life than it is.
We knew we'd have to deal with that, right? Don't like lay yourself flat. We like planned for quicksand. Absolutely, you're 100% right. We totally have to do that. Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
And then the Tremors movies, and
Yes.
so
Oh, that was the other one, right?
right.
Jumping from rock to rock, and
Mhm.
and like you sit on top of the building and you try not to move, and hope that the worms won't pay attention to you. Absolutely. And then I know we haven't prepped the image, but everyone should go look at that Tremors movie poster, right? Where it's like the people up on top, the first movie, right? They're standing on top of the ground, and then there's that enormous like worm thing about you, just like just shooting up through the darkness from below. You
Mhm.
know, it's got to be a ripoff of some other movie like Jaws or something. But like
Probably.
that image, that Tremors image, that movie poster that you just described. That's the death arm that we're striving for. Like this threat coming from below.
Right.
Um, so all right. When my very first session playing Dungeons and Dragons, going through Keep on the Borderlands, we went into the Caves of Chaos, and the very first thing that killed my very first PC 5 minutes into the game is I was walking across the pit trap to the kobolds or the goblins, whatever. My character died, like fell down the pit. My character died. The rats consumed him. I think they poisoned the dead character already, but like that threat of something beneath your feet that can kill you that you don't even know is there has literally lived with me since I was an 8-year-old, playing, Caves of Chaos.
Mhm. Right. I mean, it's the thing that you can't see, that it brings the terror in there. I mean,
Right.
I mean, you grew up in the mountains. I grew up on on the shore, so it's the same thing. It's like, hey, you go out in the ocean, and well, you can't see past your feet, so you never know what's down there. What might come up and eat you. So it's the same thing. So
Well, the water is scary though. Like you walk out, like it's amazing. Like you guys live on the ocean. This is a total, but like you could walk 8 feet in one direction and you're facing death. That's incredible. That's an incredible thing to have to face on the living on the edge of the ocean. Like, oh, death is just 20-25 feet away.
yep.
Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
So happy summer, everyone. Like enjoy it.
So, all right. So now that we've established that it's not safe to, what is beneath the ground on the Purple Planet is going to kill you. Let's talk about what's up in the air, because there's other stuff which is up there, which there's no escape. So what sort of predators might somebody have to worry about coming out of the sky and eating you while you're concentrating on what might be beneath your feet that's going to eat you?
Sure. So anyone that's looked at the cover of the Purple Planet, it has that inside flap, and it shows these leathern vulture lizard like things diving out of the sky. Their maws extended, their talons bared, and they're about to rend characters limb from limb. Or in the case of the Conan movie, right? The vultures are sitting on his shoulders. He's gonna bite one by the neck. That needs to be a mighty deed at some point. Somebody playing the Purple Planet, let me know when you bite a grib by the neck, and I don't know, we'll have some special prize for you. But yeah, so the gribs, we have these vulture, lizard vulture things that swarm in flocks around the Purple Planet. But also too, when you and I were working on Chessmen of the Purple Planet, we reintroduced, the giant grib, right? Which are the more like Mobius,
Yeah,
pterodactyls that he's flying around everywhere. So we got to get back to like, you know, screaming metal hurlant. You get to fly around the purple planet on your giant, vulture like pterodactyl thing, swooping across, meanwhile the death orms are bursting out from below you. And anyways, so the gribs
right.
are, to answer your question, hey Harley, what can threaten you from the skies? The gribs, but they're so much cooler than that.
It's funny you mentioned the Mobius thing. When we were in high school, we referred, after watching heavy metal, we referred to that as the bat chicken dolphin because
The bat chicken. It's a very fat, short-winged pterodactyl, right? Because
right,
you look at him and he's like, rah, rah,
it's
rah.
kind of like a body like a dolphin, and I mean, with like it was perfect.
That poor
That
guy.
was
Like how
contained.
many times does he die? Right? Like he gets devoured by the grassy strands from below. And anyways,
Mm,
Arak, right? That's I think that's the name of it. Arak is the
yeah,
one that's
yeah, right.
Arak.
You're correct. Right. Yeah. So.
Anyways,
Yeah, and
so,
that's other that it's funny because I'm talking about kind of like the fact that the kind of the thing beneath your feet is such has a long heritage in fantasy, and but it's the same thing for the kind of the flying leathery thing, whether that goes
yes.
to like Mobius you're talking about, the leather wing
Mhm.
from Saberhagen's Empire of the East stuff. I mean, you can't do like the classic pterodactyl. I mean,
Right, right. So I was reading, I don't know, it was some, like we all, we're omnivorous, right? We're always reading random things from, a million different points, and it's all like feeding into the RPG thing. But they had found some Aborigine skull, like a child skull, a baby skull with talon marks in it. And so that at one point in time, we were preyed upon by birds of prey. And so that and the argument they were trying to make was, when a shadow passes overhead and you flinch for just that second and look up, that there's actually some instinct there that was important once upon a time to so the the eagle harpy or whatever, you could fight it off so that little baby Curtis could live to see another day, like you smash it over the head, or, so once upon a time, we there was a threat that came from the skies,
Yeah,
or so these people claim. Who
yeah, we,
knows?
we
It
like
was
to
fun
think
to
our,
read.
yeah, we like to think ourselves as the apex predator, and that's where we may be now, but that
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
always the case.
Right.
So, yeah, so I mean, the Grib, they have their own niche, not only on the Purple Planet, but in fantasy literature and in role playing
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
how I mean, we established in Chessmen, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point in the future and everything. But you got like the big Grib, but your average size Grib is kind of like it's like vulture size or
Yeah.
condor size or something. Like you can't
Right. Yeah.
like you
Maybe
have to
a
get like two and strap them to your feet if you want to fly around. Right?
yeah, like a 6 to 8 foot wingspan. They're not going to carry. Well, maybe they might carry a halfling away, right? Or or some PC that's been shrunk, by some miscast spell. Which would actually be awesome. We need to add that table. Like if ever there's like a corruption that accidentally shrinks your character, like enlarges miscast, like a Grib comes diving out of the sky and hauls the character. Rah, rah. But yeah,
Then
yeah.
you use charm person. You take the modifier because it's an animal, and then you put it under your control, and you become the grim riding warlord of the Purple
Oh,
Planet.
dude, I love it. But you're all of 2 feet tall. Yes, I'm in. That's awesome. I'm gonna take my miniature army with me. We will march on the fly on the ascended masters.
Never see us coming. Have a flock of grims take you down and strip you to the bones like the like Hitchcock's the birds.
Yes, sir.
All right. So so we've established what's in the air. We've established what's underneath the feet, but there's an ecosystem in between
Right.
those
In
two.
between, we have the Strecleons.
So you're okay. You've gotten yourself in a cave. So you're on rock. So the worms can't get you. You're inside, so the grim can't get you. But then you hear a growl from behind.
Growl, a roar behind you. So, when I was a little kid, Mike Curtis, little kid, no, yeah, actually, probably like 10 or 11. I remember I lived out on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and it was on this kind of plateau. Oh, a plateau. Wow. Anyways,
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like when you start, like you don't realize like how subconscious you're drawing, how deep
it's really
these
true.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I was hiking with a friend and we came upon a bobcat skull. And the bobcat skull was stuck full of these of porcupine quills. And so
Oh.
for whatever reason, the bobcat had like decided to go mano a mano with the porcupine, and I don't know, maybe the porcupine made it out the day, but definitely the bobcat did not. And
Hmm.
I and so and living on the ranch, living on the farm, it was always a issue. Like if the dogs got into a porcupine or something, they
Uh,
come back with all these quills stuck in their face. You got to pull them out one by one. And so when we were designing the Strecleon, that was the full front of my mind. Just how vicious these quills can be. And and then there's the always like the, I don't even know if it's true, maybe if there's like a vet watching, like the supposedly, the quills, they work themselves under the flesh, and
hmm.
they slowly, like I don't march their way through your body. But
Are
like
they,
it's not a given that a porcupine quill will come out at any particular point. It just stays there embedded in the flesh, like slowly, massaging its way towards your heart or something to kill you.
so,
But anyways, that's those are the Strecleons, enormous saber tooth cat lion things. As if those weren't bad enough, with lots of quills all over them, so that when you hurl yourself to the attack, um, there's a chance that you come away with a face full of quills, just like that bobcat,
hmm. Or your
40 years
dog,
ago.
or yeah, I mean,
Right, right, yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
you know, I was wondering where the influence of the Strecleons came from, because like when the first time I was reading the Purple Planet and I
Uh-huh.
saw this, my thought immediately went to kind of what Burroughs was doing with the Warlord of Mars, because it's funny, we talk about how enduring the John Carter stories are, but they were definitely a product of their time in a lot of ways, well, in many ways, but more importantly, it's like Burroughs was like, you go to another planet and what do you find on there? Gorillas, but they have 4 arms, or lions with like 6 legs. I mean, so
Right. It's as bad as a normal lion, but it has, two more legs. Right. Right.
so
Right. Right.
so so to me, that like the Strecleon was always kind of like the like the Martian lion
Oh, absolutely.
ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So
Well, and there was if in Curse of Xanathon, I don't know, X6 or something, there's that beautiful illustration of the manticore like swooping up and like shooting down spikes at the party. Anyhow, like spikes and quills have had a long history with Dungeons and Dragons. And
mhm. Yeah.
anyway,
So
yeah.
no, that's, I mean, this, you did a really good job of kind of fleshing out the ecological base of I mean, which is kind of what you had to do, because I mean, it's DCC in the first place, so like it's always create new interesting monsters, but then you're talking about entirely different planet, and so you have to get into that kind of weird mindset, and that poor bobcat, hopefully, whatever her spirit may be, it's just like, well, I made it big time. It's like, I might not have had, a smart move trying to eat that porcupine, but at least I inspired young Harley Stroh, and I shall live in infamy, as a Strecleon.
I don't know. May I be as useful as that bobcat when I'm dead. We'll see. Right.
Right. So yeah, so the basically, if you have any hints of advice of how to deal with any of those three, whether the Death Orm or Strictleon,
Sure.
or anything that might be useful to a player who, a PC who finds themselves on the Purple Planet.
Well, the cool thing about the Death Orms is that we designed them really to be like so PCs this whole time, at least in the original adventure, they're collecting greenstone shards, right? And they're trying to amass this enormous, enormous amount of arcane wealth, right? With
Hmm.
which they can cast a variety of spells to horrendous effect. And it just so happens, what are the odds? The Death Orms are drawn by those greenstone shards, right? They're working their way around the plateau, always hunting for these greenstone shards. And so the PCs, just about the same time, they have just about enough shards to amass a green stone. There comes the Death Orm coming their way. So but we say it really explicitly, they're driven solely by hunger. So if you're being attacked by a death orm and you have greenstone shards, with you, now's the time to like huck that greenstone shard and beat feet the other direction and try to escape.
But then you're back to square one in the
Ding 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 ding.
the classic role playing conundrum: resource management.
Oh,
It's like, like, what is it? Is it worth it? I mean,
is
and
it worth it?
there are some groups who are going to be like, no, we go fight that damn thing.
Right. Oh yeah, dude. Idiot. Yeah. Right. Haley, like any of those, they're not giving up like an ounce of greenstones. Right. Not never.
Tony Hogarth has a terrible bit of advice. He said, first do no arm. That's it.
Oh.
So,
Okay. Whew.
All
There
right.
we are.
Well, we've covered like the kind of the classic, the classic Purple Planet monsters, the stuff that which are in the original adventure, but in the box set, because it was so popular and we had some great people, we had one of these printed, which is the player's Purple Planet companion, the Purple Planet companion. And there are about 20, possibly 20 plus new monsters in here.
Yes.
To further make the Purple Planet as weird as it is. So we don't have time. We only have a half-hour show. We didn't have time to talk about all 20 of them.
Fair enough.
But Harley and I, we picked two each, of which are our favorites on here. And Harley, since you are the inventor of the Purple Planet, I will graciously allow you to talk about your first choice first.
Right. My first pick, that's very gracious of you. And we should also call out, Mr. Mullen, whose artwork, like any of us are lucky to have in our adventures, says always fight. Peter Mullen's not giving up any greenstone shards. He's going down fighting. They might take his kayak hat, but that dude is like giving it to the end. All right, but one of my favorite adventures, monsters, that was from the companion is the Scion mold, right? I don't know any of you that have access. I could reach it right now, but the Fiend Folio. I mean, you remember the tween, right? It was like the monster we always wanted to have with us if we were playing like solo AD&D, but we were never actually playing solo AD&D. So you have the Scion mold, which is very, much in the same in the same sort of realm of that, where it's a symbiotic mold that provides a little bit of an armor class bonus and at the same time gives you a little bit of spell burn, but it's just going to take a little bit of hit points, and perhaps when you roll really poorly it's going to take a whole lot of spell burn and drain your wizard, but you can exist with it in this symbiosis for a long time, really, enjoying the armor class bonus and enjoying the bonus spell burn and just hoping that things don't go awry when you need to dig deep. Like the Scion mold was a big part of the Purple Planet games that I've run, and we actually created the players got envious, right? Because like, how come there's a Scion mold and not like some sort of Marshall mold? And so we created up, you have your black ochre and the yellow jelly, and so we made up all these different molds that would serve, other symbiotic molds that would serve other classes.
Sounds like that's a stretch goal somewhere.
That's not a bad idea. We can do the molds. Who wants to illustrate a mold? Mr. Mullen.
Peter Mullen. Tony Hooker, mold for everybody. That's it.
All right. How about you, Mike? You're number 2.
Mine is the Incobulus, which is it's just so weird. I mean, like we've talked about like the ecosystem of the Purple Planet, and this is basically like a relic from the far past, everything, the final wars or anything. And literally what it is, it's like a walking like test tube baby machine, basically. Yes. What it is, it's like a big fishbowl with like a 5-foot sphere glass filled with like viscous brown liquid, and it's got like 6 metallic legs, and it's got like little metallic tentacles with pincers on it and everything. And what it does is like it prowls the wasteland, the Purple Planet, and its job is to like create new life. So if it sees you, it will comes up there and it grabs onto you with its pincers, and it incapacitates you, and then it seals your blood, and it takes your DNA, and then it puts the DNA inside like its artificial womb, which is inside the big sphere, and it gestates new life. But the only problem is that these things have been around for so long, and under the weirdling sung, the stuff which comes out ain't right.
It's so wrong.
So it's just like a perfect thing. Like the first time I saw it, I was immediately thought the intellect devourer,
Oh
like
yeah.
brain on legs. It was like the
Oh,
mature
that's cool.
version of that. So
Only it's like a genetic devourer. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was my number one choice. No.
Okay. Number two for me is going to be the Hutterak, which is essentially a six-legged spider rat piranha of the Purple Planet, which is just so rad, right? And it's so well done because I'm embarrassed. I don't know specifically which other writers like contributed
Yeah.
with monsters, and I wish I did. But if you're out there somewhere, like your mechanics are brilliant. So like you can kill it. You don't even have to deal hit points to an individual Hutterak, right? Right. But a whole swarm of Hutteraks are gonna like rend you flesh from bone, and like there's gonna leave like nothing in its wake. And oh, what a fun monster! Like somewhere there's a pit of Hutteraks that you're gonna like pitch into, and all these spider rats are gonna come pouring down the sides of the pit, and but the pit's deep enough that you get to watch them for about 50 feet of movement, like trying to figure out, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But like they're on all sides of the pit around you. You're down at the bottom. You know the pit is slowly, essentially your space is slowly shrinking, and then the characters have to respond before this swarm of spider rat piranhas makes it to them. The Hutterak, whoever wrote that is brilliant. Super fun.
All right. My other choice is, and this is just based on the artwork alone. I mean,
Yeah.
this is like one of those things. You take a look at, like that really looks like that belongs on an alien world, and that is the Upravian Stalker, which is basically. I mean, I'm hopefully Elena has maybe shown that off, but it's literally like this. It's not quite an animal. It's not quite a plant. It doesn't have a face. It just has
Yes.
like 20 or 30 flailing tendrils
Yeah.
on one end of it, and it has like a stinger barb at the end of it, and
Right.
it lives like in the mushroom forest of it, and it's
Yeah.
like it lives off of the big giant mushrooms, and like it drains like the diseases that they get, and so that's where it gets half its nourishment, and the other half it gets is like animal blood. So it feels this like, it's got this weird, this weird kind of ecological niche. So it has like a symbiotic relationship with the other mushrooms and everything. So if you go, oh, like, hey, look, a mushroom forest, we're safe. The orms can't get us
Right.
there. The
Right.
rivers can't fly us down. And well, yeah, this weird looking thing might come out because it thinks you want to get its mushroom.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. Again, I don't know who came up with it, but
Right.
I think there's William McLaughlin did the
I was
illustration.
gonna say that's a McCausland image, isn't it? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
So
Oh, so
yeah.
good. We are so blessed by the artists in our lives that are like
And
doing
Peter
this
Mullen sounds like he's up to the challenge of an action illustration of mold.
well, right, but what's the first one you think? It's the back of the comic book of the D&D, right, where they're like the guy, they had those
It's
little,
done.
oh no, right, that's the, I don't know, symbiotic mold attack. Little did we know it was good for us
That's
for a
the name
little
of my next band.
symbiotic mold.
Either that or it sounds like a Hawkwind B-side. It's
Whew.
so. Oh, all right. Well, how do you feel, Harley? You feel like we've delved into the ecosystem of the Purple Planet enough for one show? And
Yeah, just what's the capstone thing to say? Just that, like we mentioned it in the last show, there's this idea that the PCs really are in a they're foreigners in a foreign land where literally anything can be a threat, and some of those monsters might provide some respite, but the majority of them are really threatening the PCs and going to make their lives, make things difficult. And so our there's no safe place for our characters to rest, and that they really need to think about, intelligently, yeah, how they're going to make it through to the next day, and like, and that literally making it to the next day is an accomplishment on the Purple Planet, let alone recovering enough greenstone shards and talking to enough ascended masters and mastering, the band of, Kith to make it home.
yeah. And hopefully once the crowdfunding project goes live, and we were going to have some neat add-ons and stretch goals to kind of help kind of get that feeling of exploration and survival and everything. So we've got a lot of planning going, a lot of neat, not only gigaws, which are really going to take Purple Planet to the next level. So
Yeah. Help Mr. Mullen and I design some new molds, some new Scion molds. Come on, Peter. You know you want to draw them. I'll write them. You draw. Yeah, there we go. Peter can do the illustration first, and I'll design a mold to whatever.
There you go. That sounds like a
design.
perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So
Awesome.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and spending another 30 minutes with us on the Purple Planet. We will be back on the 22nd. No, the 21st, I believe. 2 weeks from tonight. And then we're going to do a little sightseeing on the Purple Planet. We're going to
Sure.
examine some of the places you want to visit or maybe stay the heck away from. So, all right.
Awesome.
So Harley, thank you for continuing to be my co-explorer here on the Purple Planet. I feel very safe in your hands. So,
Thank you, Mike. All right. All right. Somebody screenshot Peter Mullen's art. He's in.
that's
You can't back out now. He said it on Twitch.
Yeah, commenting in a Twitch agreement is as good as a legal document. So yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right, well, we're out of here.
Yeah, love you guys.
Great time. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right.
Thanks for coming out.
Bye.